Ha! This guy's toast.
Draw 3 cards. Put any minions you drew directly into the battlefield.
Behold the armies of Stormwind!
Almost out of cards. I'm out of cards.
Leaving time!
Choose soon.
Behold the armies of Stormwind!
Alright, so let's talk about why this interaction is a bit unexpected. On the Varian Wrynn's card text, it says draw 3 cards followed by put any minions you drew directly into the battlefield. Now in both cases, the word draw is used twice, first as draw 3 cards and the second as any minions you drew, which implies that any minions that gets put into the battlefield is considered to be drawn. Now, compare this to the card text of Chromaggus, which says whenever you draw a card, put another copy into your hand. Going off card text alone, it would imply that Chromaggus' ability should work with all 3 minions that Varian draws, regardless if it's put into the battlefield or if it goes into your hand. Next, let's take a look at Sea Reaver, which says, when you draw this, deal 1 damage to your minions. The keyword here being when you draw. Now, because Varian says draw 3 cards and put any minions you drew directly into the battlefield, one would expect for all 3 Sea Reavers to trigger their ability, but as we've seen in our example, only the last Sea Reaver triggered its ability after the board was full. The explanation for this is actually pretty simple. Basically, any minions put directly into play by Varian Wrynn is not considered drawn. So what's actually happening is this. Varian Wrynn reveals the top 3 cards of your deck. If it's a spell or a weapon, it draws it. If it's a minion, put it directly into play by passing the draw part, and if the board is full, then draw that minion. So because of this, any minion you pull directly into the battlefield by Varian isn't considered to be drawn despite the text saying so, which is why Chromaggus won't duplicate those minions, but it will duplicate the last minion, in this case the Gnomish Experimenter, because your hand was full, it goes straight into your hand, and the game considers it to be a draw effect. The same thing happens with the Sea Reaver examples. The first 2 gets put directly into the battlefield, which bypass the when you draw this requirement, and only the third one triggers the when you draw this requirement, because it's the only card being considered drawn by the game, which is why it triggers the ability. So let's talk about the Varian and Mistcaller interaction. Now if you guys recall from our last investigation video, we realized that the Mistcaller's card text behaves a little differently than expected. So what is happening is that the Mistcaller isn't actually causing all the minions in your deck to gain +1/+1. What's happening is that every time you draw a minion, it gives it a +1/+1. Which is why when you get a minion from Deathlord after playing the Mistcaller, it won't have the buff on it. because you never drew the minion, you put it directly into play, similar to Varian. So now that we understand both of these cards a little better, let's take a second and ignore what's actually on the card and look at the situation through what we think the card is actually doing. As you can see, the first two minions pulled by Varian does not have the Miscaller buff because these guys are bypassing the draw phase, which the Miscaller needs to give it the buff. And only the Cogmaster receives the buff from Miscaller because it's the only one that goes into your hand since the board is full.
Hey,
Behold the armies of Stormwind.
hey, lights out.